The sun has set, the moon draws high, and the sound of wings can be heard across the sky. Though the blood runs cold and the heartbeats fade, I welcome you all to the masquerade. Hello everyone, and welcome to Vampire the Masquerade, Coteries of New York. Now, I have not really played this before. This is my first time playing the Vampire the Masquerade game in quite some time, live or not. But I have seen a lot of playthroughs and stuff Vampire. And with this being October, I really want to play something with a little bit of supernatural flavor. So what is now I did play a little bit Twitter just to try to see, okay, what kind of game is doing. I noticed that there's 3 save slots, there's 3 clans. I think you can kind of see where we're going with this. But we're going to go ahead and start off with Bruja. Eric, no. We're gonna go with Ethan. I don't know, he just strikes me more as an Ethan. In the words of the Latin I know how broken you really are. You need therapy. Yeah, now that sounds like the Jessica of today. You raise your head and look in the mirror. You try to smile, but all you can muster is a self-pitying grin. And there she is, the Latina from before. Damn! She said, but this girl sounds like she broke her share of faces and kicked more than a couple of cops nuts over the course of her activist career. Her zeal is infectious. She taps into built-up anger that you didn't know you had. The noisy club stops working for you both, so you hit the streets. Just as you're leaving, the DJ starts playing all the things she's set by to. All the clues. Chuckles to yourself, trying not to slip into a bad headspace. She chuckles away. Yeah, that is actually a pretty good song. I realize you've been holding hands for a while. The subway car is empty, save for a stoic middle-aged couple with their tongues staring intently at its own teeth. Pregnant room to stretch out. And yet, she sits right next to you. You can feel her thigh pressing into yours, her breath on the side of your neck. Maybe it's the booze talking, but you distinctly hear your voice asking if she'd like to crash your romance. I've got a better idea, she says. At this point, you're down for anything as long as it lets you spend just a few more minutes with her. Let's see how this plays out. She takes you to a sleazy motel in the Bronx, trading a few words with the balding, tired-looking guy at the front desk. He hands her a key. Still holding your hand, the woman leads you up the stairs. The room you end up in is almost comically stereotypical, complete with flaking paint and a sticky floor. Not that it matters though. The moment you step through the door, she's on. You try to take the lead, but she's having none of it. Before you know, you feel the rickety bed pressing against your back. It's sloppy, fun, fierce, and not once did she establish you. Yeah, she's got a plus not into her initiative. You have a -1. Her hands reach under her t-shirt. Strange, doesn't look like she was cold outside, but now her skin feels eerie cold, as if sensing your confusion. She slaps your hands off of her. She kisses your neck. You are overwhelmed by the sensation. She takes the liquid fire and smiles. Her voice says, "Sorry, kid. I did what I had to do to leave the city in one piece. But don't worry. I'm glad you were principles. You're going to do just fine." She slams the motel door behind her as shoes. You lie helpless someone to call an ambulance. For yourself at least. Probably too late for the dude on the floor. Did you really kill him? What? Yes. You look up. The door to the room is open. A tall, handsome, broad-shouldered man fills the room. Questions the unimaginable state of his this isn't what it looks like. That's good to hear, because for now, I'm thinking it looks like you're in a world of trouble. Today's a bit heavy and intricate as that. He shakes his head back. Silent. It's 25 to 1. Takes a glance at his basic looking for you, it's been a slow night. Otherwise, I might not have gotten it. The sun's up in a few hours. Don't want to be around here when it does. What do you think? The sun? Does it matter when the sun comes up? So don't even... I'm so glad. You should be glad I got you. This tone remains unnaturally calm. Oddly enough, something slightly unnerving. Now, listen to me. I know this is all new to you, but I've dealt with hundreds of stories like you. By experience, they tend to fall into two categories. First, there are the smart ones who carefully obey the and don't try to pull off anything subject to always do the right those who thought you could take me out. The troublemakers who try to run off or make a scene. None of them got to their destination without one piece. In fact, most of them never reached their destination at all. His voice creaks slightly when the door opened. You can tell he's getting spoken for, like dozens of times. So you see, while I was here these last months, I know something that's funny. It's not what it's like this. One that inspired me to come up with a three-strike system idea that puffs up. As was your price, well, I understand. Not all of us perform well in stressful situations. But, cost me 3 times, and you're out. No excuses, no forgiveness, no mercy. This is something you can fully avoid here, and a bit of theatrical swag. Eventually he leans in, deliberately invading my personal space. He realizes the test. He's very much like a Three strikes, and you're out. Say I understand, sir. Now, you've never been too eager to bend the knee to anyone, but this is something else. The man's very presence instills a primal fear in your heart. Yeah, I think at this point we're going to be fully the nice neo-Nick, because damn if we don't know what the hell is going on. Incredible. turn the music down a little bit. As for myself, my girlfriend is asleep upstairs. No, my actual girlfriend. Music will be a bit lower. Alright. Alright, how's that? But yeah, my actual girlfriend is asleep upstairs, so I don't want to be too loud and wake her up. Yeah, let's be perfectly honest here and say, yeah, my ex-girlfriend. Jessica, my ex-girlfriend. She kind of hates my guts, but yeah, I suppose it would be her. The stranger gives you a puzzled look and decides to prod further. The closest person in your life hates your guts. This time, something resembling a look of pity. He turns his eyes to the corpse on the floor. When it rains, it pours, I suppose. If you'd like me to ruin her day and let her know you're alright, give me your phone. I'll have someone take care of it. Discreetly, of course. You hand him your smartphone so he can copy the number from your list of contacts. Thank you. This will be useful in illustrating my next point. Instead of giving you back your phone, the man hides it in his pocket. From this point on, you are subject to different laws than the ones you grew up under. You will be watched by many eyes to ensure that these laws are respected. You are forbidden from letting anyone know you're still alive. You are forbidden from showing your face anywhere they know. If anyone comes looking for you, it's over and for both you and them. He interrupts his motley recitation and stares deep into your eyes. So unless you want your girlfriend to end up at the bottom of the Hudson, I'd suggest you cooperate. Apparently dissuades his fancy. You've put Jess in danger. God damn it. I can only hope that you care for her enough not to do anything selfish. His words aren't meant to imply otherwise, but by now it's obvious. He hates your guts as much as you hate his. He's itching for a fight and you're almost willing to oblige. Alright, I think that's enough lecturing for today. We're on a bit of a schedule. Don't mean to hurt you, but I can do so with the blink of an eye. Just so that we're clear, I have the authority to end you right here, right now. This is not an idle threat. So, are you going to play along, or do we have to do it the hard way? As tempting as it is to just deck this guy in English schnoz, I don't think we're in any position to do jack shit about this. You weigh your chances, but it doesn't look promising. The guy's fit, determined, and it looks like he means business. You, on the other hand, are confused, exhausted, and on the verge of a panic attack. Yeah, fine, I'll go with you. He almost looks disappointed. A wise decision. Follow me, please, and close the door behind you. Take one final look at the man who's just coming to, like a body on the ground. This is fucked. Absolutely fucked. You pull the handle and close the door. The man leads you downstairs. You contemplate signaling the bald guy at the front desk, but he's too busy watching some 90s action flick on a small ancient green TV. He seems totally oblivious to your presence. You hear a dejected Jean-Claude Van Damme say, "Just want to go home," as they're walking by. The would-be kidnapper stops at the door and addresses you before leaving. What you're thinking, as soon as he opens the door, I make He opens the door and gestures to a black Cadillac Escalade parked right outside the building. After you. We're just gonna go along with this because, again, you're new to the night. You have no idea what the fuck's going on. This guy seems to know have answers. Following the stranger's instructions, you make your way to the car and get in the back seat. The door locks behind you. Inside, the Cadillac is almost entirely dark. The side windows seem light-proof. The man gets in the driver's seat, starts the engine, and drives away without a light. You know what? Let's be perfectly honest. Let's be perfectly blunt here. Since we checked that most of our person is that the big question, we'll try to figure out his identity later. Let's just ask the big question. Did I die? This is the afterlife, isn't it? You're not entirely wrong, but it's not what you think. He weighs his neck forwards carefully. You'll have to forgive me, I'm not going to relax poetic about this fate we're in or my role in Kansas. Just remember, if you want to survive for the next 24 hours, you'll have to play. Man, this is bullshit. Does everything have to be a fucking rule? Well, you really mean this. You're just gonna get their teeth smashed into their brain if he doesn't shut up. Valid point. Understand that this is for your own good. Times being what they are, you should consider yourself lucky. Drive in silence for about 20 minutes. As the exhaustion catches up, the streetlights fade into a blur. Eventually, the car stops and the doors open. You emerge from your dreamlike state and find yourself in some kind of underground parking garage. You two are the only ones here. The man points to a nearby door. Go on in, make yourself comfortable. If you get hungry again, take a look in the fridge. I'll pick you up tomorrow and you'll get your hot sauce. Behind the door is a small room. No windows, just a single bed. And a single light bulb hanging in the ceiling. The small fridge is humming away in the corner, accompanied by a rattling AC fan in the wall. I guess I got no choice but to trust you. It took you this long to figure out. Remember when I said you were lucky? I meant it. See, my job is to get rid of problems, but I'm not always this polite about it. This time, I was specifically told about my manners. So believe me, my dear, considering how this night could have turned out, being stuck here for a night is a really good deal. Get in, or I'll throw it. Sure, why not? You step inside. The stranger nods. Good night. Closes the door. It looks sturdy, but as he's locking it, you notice claw marks all over. Looks like some previous guests weren't satisfied with their stay. Decide not to dwell on it and check the fridge. There's a single plastic bag filled with red liquid. The label. Tomato soup. You feel sick to your stomach. Best to leave. Lie down on the bed. It's a simple mattress on the bed. Can't help but think it's exactly like the one back at the hotel with the bound woman. Oh, right. You killed a man tonight. Or did you? Maybe none of this is real. Maybe it's all an elaborate prank. The girl at the club just might have put her up to it. The tall guy's clearly in on it too. And now he's back down and they're all laughing their asses off. You're too tired to keep going. Finally, turns up one last time before drifting away into oblivion. You wake up. That in itself is a surprise. You barely remember when you drifted off. It didn't feel quite like sleep, more like plummeting into an endless void. You imagine that's how death feels like. The room is unchanged. The lamp is still on, the AC is still rattling, the refrigerator is still humming. You take a look at your watch. It's almost 9 p.m. You've slept for 17 hours straight. Maybe you died. Your breath is gone and you feel no thumping in your chest. Does that qualify as dead if you're still conscious? You're not sure about that, but you are certain about one thing. You are hungry. It's not your stomach grumbling though. It's a need that starts somewhere in your abdomen and spreads to your chest, throat, and back of the head. You open the fridge. The bag is still there. You take a closer look at it. If it's soup, then its color and texture are off. You pull the cork out and take a whiff. You recognize the smell immediately. Holy shit. There's no mistaking it. It's bagged blood. The smell is faint, and you remember some situations in the past where you found it nauseating. But now it's almost... no. Not almost. It is enticing. You know what? Fuck it. We're hungry. We got a snack. It feels wrong, but right now there's barely anything in your life that doesn't. To hell with it. You pour a bit of the liquid into your mouth. It tastes bland. Reminds you of cheap supermarket juice. Just enough flavor to register what it claims to be on the box, but nothing like the real thing. Nothing like what you had the last time. You swallow it. Somehow you don't feel sick. In a weird, messed up way, you can't help but think it feels nourishing. You take a few more sips. Then another one. Then just another one. Suck on the bag a little more. Eventually you found that you've emptied it entirely. You look at the info pressed into the side of the bag. 450 milliliters of it. Even with its blandness, you still feel like having more. You realize your body longs for that intoxicating high you felt when an image of that corpse crosses your mind, causing you to wince. What have you become? You try to piece your thoughts together to make sense of it all. You hear the lock click and see the door open. Standing there is the well-dressed stranger you met yesterday. Immaculate suit again. That predatory look, like a hawk on a hunt. But somehow more relaxed tonight. So, like a tamed hawk, maybe. Good evening. Slept well? He notices the discarded emptied bag. I see you had a bit of a snack. Was that really type O plus? Not that easy to get. Glad you liked it. Come on, we've got places to be. The car is humming in the empty parking lot just outside the door of the cramped room you have spent the day in. The man motions to it, politely, but with a stern look on his face. I'm trusting you here, man. I'm touched. Sincerely. You take the back seat again. The door is locked. The stranger takes the wheel and starts the car. You drive in silence for a while. From time to time, you keep trying to catch glimpses of familiar streets or landmarks through the blackened windows, but it's of little use. car is also soundproof, so all you can hear is a bit of traffic humming in the car's engine. The driver doesn't say anything and seems focused on the road. You check the door handle. Yeah, the door is locked, alright. The piece of dark glass separating you and the front of the car looks sturdy, too. There's nothing left to do but wait. You didn't have time to think about it before, but you realize now that you're hungry? No, not exactly. It's not a rumbling in the stomach that grabs your attention. It's a need that starts somewhere near your abdomen and spreads to your chest, throat, and back of the head. You try to extract some information out of the man behind the wheel, but you realize you prefer to bask in the afterglow of your last meal. You wouldn't have expected it, but you spent the rest of the trip lost in your thoughts. A lot of them concern blood. It takes you another 20 or so minutes to get to your destination. As the door opens, you try to get your bearings. You're still in New York, that much is certain. Queens, maybe. After me, no sudden surprise. You approach a nice looking building that houses a two-story gallery called the Art Hall. Two large men in suits flank the door on both sides, and they both give your companion a nod as you approach. Prompted by the stranger guiding you, you walk inside. The gallery is full, which is unusual at this hour to say the least. About 24 faces fill the showroom, and a number of waiters navigate the gathering serving drinks. All of them are beneath the guests' attention. The visitors are well dressed for the most part, but it's unclear what they have gathered here for. Nobody seems particularly interested in the art pieces on the walls, and the atmosphere is polite. Unnaturally so. Many guests turn to look at you and the stranger who brought you here. Their glances are varied. You see open contempt on a few faces and animated interest on others. Most of the eyes in the room calmly observe you, as if wishing to appraise your worth. The last time you felt like this was at your previous job interview. It was like being a piece of livestock, inspected from all sides for any imperfection, so your wage could be haggled down. It was dehumanizing, and it made you feel dirty. When they called you the next day to offer you the job, you declined. Even when you're a nobody, you become even less if you trade away your dignity for a paycheck. Good advice for everyone to know. The memory makes you feel a little warmer inside even now, although the state of your bank account never did. Good evening, Coteries, and to you, child. The noble, cold voice takes you out of your head and back to the situation at hand. The gallery, a crowd of strangers. You being brought here against your will. For what purpose? The room awaits your response. Good evening, miss. You are addressing the Prince of New York City, Helene Panhard, child of Michaela. Thank you, my sheriff, but I am incapable of introducing myself. She is somewhat plain looking and doesn't seem to possess a great deal of charm, but the entire room is intently focused on her voice. She has influence over these people, that much is clear. You may address me as Prince, child. I realize your introduction into unlife was abrupt, and I understand your sire left shortly after. The rules of our society dictate I punish you both for this transgression. A murmur, an agreement maybe, can be heard from the gathered audience. But I am willing to listen to what our loyal sheriff has to say about the circumstances of your embrace first. Yeah, this is one of those cases of the adults are talking, shut up. You decide it's best to stay silent and listen to the whole situation unfold. It feels like you're out of your depth here. Again, the adults are talking. Shut up. Shall we begin? You are about to be judged by the Court of New York City. Quidia, please tell us how you found this fledgling and what happened on your way here. Court? Prince? Is this some kind of secret society make-believe? A trusted informant who has chosen to remain anonymous at this time tipped me off about a suspicious kindred appearing in one of our domains. Upon investigating, I found them gone, but this fledgling remained in their place. The hunger made him savage, a prostitute and his client in a Bronx brothel belonging to one of the ministry. I have already spoken to Sansarik about this and made sure it'll blow over. Regarding the fledgling himself, surprisingly enough, he offered little resistance last night and cooperated on our way to the safe house. I was pleased not to have to force his compliance. We had a quick chat, but wishing to appear here post-haste, I urged him to join me. She did without struggle. Again, a pleasant departure from my usual routine. His thirst partially slaked with the bagged blood we kept in the safe house, we had a pleasant enough drive here. The story ends with us arriving at Elysium tonight. All eyes are on you again. You take a special interest in one of the faces. It's a beautiful woman with curly, almost blood-red hair and a dress to match. You see her whispering to some bespectacled man with an absent-minded look on his face. Who is she, you wonder? Thank you, Quidia. I take note of this fledgling's behavior and will take it into consideration later. She turns her attention to you. First, there is the matter of your sire, the person who brought you where Quidia picked you up from last night. Who were they? A Latina woman, very radical. Unless he convincingly lied to me, she was special, extraordinary. She had fire, conviction, temper. She seduced me, easily in fact, made me think she wanted me. I fell for it, and now I'm here. It feels awkward talking to a room of strangers about what seemed to be a random one-night stand at the time. Not to mention that even though the Latina made an impression on you for sure, her face is already fading from your mind. You realize she never even told you her name. Well, Quidia, does that sound familiar? No, it does not. At least not familiar enough. I will continue the search after we're done here. That chick, she rented our room at the motel. Talked to the receptionist. He might know something about her. Unlikely. But regardless, thank you for that observation. I will investigate this later. What shall I do with the fledgling, my prince? What is your recommendation, my sheriff? The traditions are clear. Thou who shalt only sire another with the permission of thine elder. If thou createst another without thine elder's leave, both thou and thy progeny shall be slain. I am ready to fulfill my duty. Stay your hand for just a moment longer, Quidia. I wish to consult my counsel on this. Make sure everyone is in agreement. Of course. He seems strangely relieved. The prince leaves the main showroom and a handful of people follow her out. You're about to ask this Quidia what all that talk of traditions and councils was, when the red-haired woman approaches the two of you. Sophie? Sheriff, I was wondering if I could have a word with the fledgling. What for? She lowers her voice in response. Come now, Quidia. Let me speak to them. You might not have to stain your hands tonight after all. Her words grabbed his attention. His face is hard to read. It's like several emotions are struggling for domination. Anger, sadness, hope, gratitude, resolve. I'll go get my sword. He steps out of the room the way you came, and you are left in the showroom with the woman in the red dress. She takes you aside, and the eyes of the remaining guests follow you. Well then, Fledgling, you're in quite the pickle. What do you mean? I still don't understand what my crime name is here. Poor thing. It really isn't your fault. But if you want to get out of here in one piece, you'll need to understand one crucial fact that seems to have eluded your grasp. Last night, you became a vampire. Wait, what? Oh yes, I am well aware of how ridiculous that sounds. That's the reason we have these nicer words for it. Kindred, being embraced, having a sire. The fact remains. The beings called vampires? You're looking at them. They're us. You glance around. Some of the guests are occasionally looking at you, commenting on you in hushed tones. Many of the patrons are pale. Really pale. Most hold glasses of wine. No. Not wine. Not wine. That's not the right thickness. Not the right color either. You're trying to come up with something sensible to say, but you're drawing a blank. It makes a morbid kind of sense. You drank blood last night, there's no denying it, and your breathing has not returned. Your heart remains still. A vampire. Two voices in your head start battling for supremacy. One of them slowly begins to put everything that happened since yesterday together, coming to a conclusion that no matter how insane it might seem, nothing but what she's saying makes sense. The other voice keeps saying, "What the fuck? What the fuck?" on repeat. You're surprised. This is often how it plays out by design. Coteries deliberately keeping you in the dark and all. If you do nothing, you will be cut down, as sure as day follows night. But I am here to offer you a chance, a way out, under one condition. I will take you under my wing. If you're lucky, the prince will be in a good mood tonight, and your deference to Coteries will work in your favor. She might agree to this, but only if you swear fealty to me. I am not making this offer lightly. As your patron, I will take responsibility for you. Your actions will reflect on me. If they reflect negatively, well, I will make sure you face the consequences. Suppose I say yes. What happens then? You survive, hopefully. Or not, depending on the prince's will. I'm giving you a chance, not a guarantee. But if you take me as your patron, I will be your guide in this new reality, and you will assist me, like a child who would a sire. Such a voice inside. Seems the prince sending her counsel to the children. Coteries appears from downstairs as well, as walking towards you. You're the verdict, as to be spared. I will intervene. Remember my condition. She flashes a heart-melting smile towards Coteries, who does not smile back. The sheriff's immaculate suit is now complemented by a curved oriental-looking metal scabbard, fastened with a colorful sash around his waist. It would look vaguely ridiculous if he wasn't surprisingly intimidating first and foremost. Coteries takes his place next to you and observes as the prince takes center stage again. Loyal kindred of the New York City Camarilla gathered here tonight. I have made my decision regarding this fledgling. She briefly addresses you. I want you to know that this was not an easy decision to make. For your part, you have done nothing. You have not done anything to earn our ire. I do feel a genuine sorrow for what must be done. We are all keenly aware that these nights we need to close our ranks and trust the wisdom of our elders and their traditions more than ever before. There is no place for tolerating dissent when our very existence is under a constant threat. Although I acknowledge some of my council's divergent opinions on this. She takes a look specifically at one of the people who left the room before, a rather plainly dressed, shy-looking man, whose skin is a somewhat healthier tone. He bows his head in deference. I hold the final authority over this fledgling's fate, and I declare that while their embrace might be their sire's responsibility, in their absence, it is their progeny that must be punished. The sentence is final death, to be resolved presently. Quadir? You hear a scraping sword and see that the sheriff has unsheathed his curved sword. It's a beautifully detailed blade that you expect must be worth a small fortune. Its patent sharpness makes you freeze up. 2 outs, bottom of the knife. His quiet mumble is audible to almost nobody but you. As his eyes meet yours, note just a hint of sadness in his countenance, and quickly he vanishes to give way to grim determination. And he's out to bed. Will not get another chance to speak up. I think if I remain silent, I'm going to get my head cut off. I'm rather attached to it. You make your choice. I'm not going down like this, damn it. Spare me. Prince, if I may ask you to stay the sheriff's hand for a while longer. Whittier looks at the prince, awaiting her response. The sword is still hanging above you, threatening to fall at a moment's notice. Is there something you'd like to say, Miss Knightley? Yes, if I may. At first the prince looks somewhat annoyed at the distraction, but she stays quiet for a while, measuring the mood in the room. The borderlies suddenly look at you with aroused interest. Some of them dismayed at not seeing the bloodshed, but all intrigued by the unexpected twist. The prince nods. Well, let's hear it. Sophie takes a few steps forward. All eyes are on her now, but Quadir's heavy hand on your shoulder makes it clear you won't take advantage of the distraction. My prince, while the traditions are clear, I believe that the proper context should be observed in addition to the letter of our laws. This fledgling is a burden, but with proper guidance, they could become an asset to our domain. I need to understand you are volunteering to take this sireless child under your protection? Yes. I happen to think they might hold a potential that would be unfortunate to waste. I do expect their full cooperation, of course. This voice can be heard, and in Kindred, this voice is a hush just before the second. Some suppressed exclamations of surprise. Silence? I ask all of you to make a note of this moment. I might be persuaded to bend one tradition in this child's favor, but another will have to be enforced even more firmly in its stead. Until thy progeny shall be released, thou shalt command them in all things. Their sins are thine to endure. Are you certain that's the responsibility you wish to shoulder, Miss Knightley? I am willing to guide this fledgling and add a valuable ally to our sect in a time of need, yes. But I would like to receive the right of destruction over them, if it pleases you. Again, the adults are talking, shut up. It's clear tensions are high. It feels surreal to listen to strangers discussing your death, or second death apparently, and keeping silent. You decide it's for the best to let Sophie handle this alone and not interject. You have no idea how to handle this eyes wide shut crowd. The prince looks at you as if weighing your worth. She takes another good measure of the room before she speaks again. I shall grant what you ask. Let it be known, Sophie Langley of the Clan of the Rose will become this fledgling's patron. They will be considered like sire and child. Miss Langley will take full responsibility for them, and I grant her the right of destruction if she sees fit to use it. Let my intentions be clear, however. If I am to turn a blind eye to one of our most important traditions on this occasion, I expect it to be beneficial to the Camarilla, substantially so. I hope you find this verdict satisfactory, Miss Langley. Of course, Prince. Thank you. Very well. She turns to me. What is your name, child? Ethan, Prince. She nods. Welcome to the Camarilla, Ethan. Now, this evening proved to be even more eventful than I anticipated. But with the fledgling's fate decided, I believe our meeting here can conclude. Thank you all for appearing on such short notice. Give my regards to those who couldn't make it. Quidir, a moment of your time before I let you return to your duties? Of course, Prince. He shoots you a side glance that doesn't leave much space for interpretation. You will be watched. You will be judged. And if need be, you will be punished. The two of them leave the gallery. Well, Ethan, I think we've both managed to significantly improve each other's evenings. But let's keep the ball rolling, shall we? I think we should have a toast to our new fruitful partnership. She raises her hand at one of the well-dressed concierges who reappeared in the showroom to refill the guests' glasses. The conveniently handsome man approaches with a carafe of red liquid. He pours it into 2 tall glasses. It's blood again. That much is clear. You're in 2 minds about drinking it, but the memory of last night's hunger makes you wince. You take a tentative sip. You expected the same blandness you tasted a few hours ago, but this one you can actually savor. It's smoky and warm, making you think of a cozy cabin in the woods. It does strike you as a strange image for your mind to jump to when drinking human blood, but it is what it is. You've never tasted anything like it. Do you like it? I think NYC caterers have very bourgeois ideas about what good blood should taste like. Apologies, you must have so many questions. While we're on the topic, perhaps we should start with those related to sustenance. I feel this hunger constantly. How much do I have to drink to make it go away? The sad reality is it will never go away. No matter how much you drink, you will always be tempted to have more. Unless you consume someone wholly, to the last drop, paying for temporary relief with their life. But that is a one-way road to losing your humanity. Best start by taking just a single sip from a vessel. Be prudent. Hot, fresh blood will be more satisfying than most anything they serve in a fancy glass. But it can make you more voracious. As to how much you should have, it depends. If you're frugal, you can survive many nights without a single drink. But it's risky, and will tempt the beast that is part of our curse. Tomorrow I shall take you hunting, and we will explore this topic further. The blood you're having tonight should be enough to keep you happy for now. That beast you mentioned, is that a metaphor or... Oh, it's quite real, although not in a strictly physical sense. It lives in all of us. Our nature and hunger manifest. Those more religious among us connected to the biblical Cain. The rage of the first murderer, cursed by God, seething in all of his descendants. I, however, am a child of the Enlightenment. Not that it makes my struggle any easier. I have to be wary like any other kindred in this city and beyond. Individual kindred each have a unique relationship to their beast. What yours is going to be remains to be seen. But you do need to keep it under control. Each outburst endangers not just you, but also the masquerade. And in case you're wondering, yeah, all these red words that are popping up, they're part of our handy-dandy dictionary. So yes, we have the masquerade. Now we have, the Camarilla. Fledgling Prince. The Hunger. Vessel. The Beast. Cain. Kindred, and the Masquerade. Yeah, any word that pops up in red, that's added to our dictionary, as I'm sure you already figured out. The concierge returns, asks for permission to intrude, which Sophie gives with a polite smile, and leans in to whisper in her ear. You note that the gallery is now almost empty. I'm being told the gallery is just about to close, but we still have quite a lot to discuss. We'll go to one of my apartments. My jalopy is waiting downstairs. Come. The smile she puts on makes you remember the way you felt about the Latina. It's not arousing, though, more like magnetic. You find it hard to argue. Even though you're still suspicious of her authority over you, her charm momentarily wins you over. Sophie leads you to a luxurious silver Rolls Royce and invites you to sit in the back. The chauffeur, a broad-shouldered, clean-shaven, middle-aged guy, starts driving immediately. Where did we leave off? I believe I started telling you a bit more about our customs. You've heard the prince refer to our traditions. The chief among them is the masquerade. As you might have gathered from us assembling at a niche gallery after closing time, our comings, goings, and doings tend to be somewhat secretive. We do not advertise our existence. We allow myths and modern fiction to morph and muddle the facts. So, to the vast majority of kind, we remain bedtime stories and pop culture icons. Say, is that one television show about a vampire angel still popular? You shake your head in confusion. She shrugs and continues talking, looking a little more dejected than before. Our clandestine ways help us remain safe, allow us to explain in a way the common trip up to the rational minds of 21st century humanity and dictate much of our interactions with mortals. So if it's such a secret, I'm guessing that your driver is a vampire too? Oh, dear Gregory here? No, not a vampire. Although he is a loyal servant, and as such trusted not to spit our secrets left and right. You'll realize that with time that such help is welcome. Gregory watches over me during the day hours. The sun burns our kind. That's why we take our rest when it rises. It's more akin to being dead than asleep, as I'm sure you've already experienced. Not everything you've heard about vampires is true. Some more folk-related threats are just legends, or occasionally a minor nuisance. Garlic, running water, even religious symbols don't repel us. Unless the wielder is uniquely pure and godly. Stakes through the heart, though, that's something to avoid. They do not destroy, but they do paralyze us. Well, that's just another reason to have somebody trusty like you. It's just another reason to have somebody like trusty old Gregory sure you're safe when you drift away. We have many enemies, and they often know their advantage lies within daylight. You mentioned enemies. I guess that makes it necessary to watch each other's backs. Can you count on other vampires for that? She surprises you by letting out a soft chuckle before answering. No. Our little sect supplies social interactions aplenty, but it doesn't really encourage counting on someone. Support given in exchange for favors? Yes, that's more like it. Long-term solidarity does occur in the Camarilla, but we are a very politicalized organization by necessity. Loyalty is to your sire, to your prince, and to the sect. When you're in Elysium, like we were tonight, the sect can appear to be a monolith. The reality is much more complex. Outside of official gatherings, shady deals, and a quid pro quo mentality reigns supreme. She seems to be lost in thought and falls silent for a while, leaving you to ponder on all the things you've learned tonight. It still feels absolutely unreal, but as piece after piece of knowledge falls into place, the image becomes almost like an entirely logical jigsaw puzzle. Whatever you wouldn't believe on your own, you've witnessed. Many questions swarm your thoughts, but the one you keep returning to is what your place in this new reality should be. The car stops. You're in the city, in a well-renovated apartment building. You're here. Would you like to see your lodgings? You get my own apartment? That's neat. Consider it the first of many gifts that I am able to grant in exchange for yours. Come upstairs. She leads you through a small hall with a night guard who greets Miss Langley with a good evening. Then you take the stairs up to the second floor. Sophie opens the door to room 209. Inside are all the amenities you could expect from a modern apartment. Some you wouldn't have deemed necessary just the previous night, including thick blinds on the windows. The back room has a comfortable-looking bed and a thick steel door with several sturdy-looking locks, but no windows. Well, how do you like it? This is great, thank you. I'm glad. Make yourself at home. Tomorrow I will take you hunting and discuss the blood in more detail. I'll let you get comfortable. The keys are by the television set. I will come pick you up tomorrow night. Use the back room for rest. You can lock the doors, just in case. It stings a bit when she leaves. It's like the room suddenly becomes a few shades dimmer. You inspect the kitchen, hoping to find something to drink. Nothing. No regular food either. It feels strange that Gwydir could be a more thoughtful host than her new sire, but even if only in that respect. You briefly wonder if the sheriff might have a hidden side. With nothing left to do, you lie on the couch with the TV playing in the background for company. Columbo reruns. Kojak reruns. President of the United States got himself into serious trouble again. President of the United States got himself out of trouble again. Pundits start yelling over each other about things that seemed a little bit less significant just 2 days ago. You start drifting off, reflecting about another night of confusing conversations and worldview-shattering revelations. How many more before you finally understand what happened to you and what you're supposed to do now? You keep coming back to the life you left behind, the people you should contact, the things you want to pick up from your apartment. You wonder if you'll have the chance for either. As you start to feel the same tiredness that made you drift into a cold sleep last night, you settle into the back room. The bed is comforting. The lack of windows, less so. You leave the light bulb on. Looking at it, you'll realize it's the closest you'll ever come to staring at the sun on a breezy summer day again. A wave of melancholy overwhelms you. A few minutes later, your consciousness fades and you take the plunge into darkness again, sinking, 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 sinking. Okay. Hunger is at the heart of vampire's existence. To ignore it is to tempt the beast to take over in its desire to feed. To overindulge in feeding may threaten the masquerade while staining what humanity you have left. In Coteries of New York, having high hunger is indicated by a progressively thicker or bloody frame around the screen, like the one you see now. Okay, good to know. As your hunger grows, so does this indicator. Your hunger may increase when you call upon your vampiric powers, or if you need to mend your wounds after a fight. When your hunger reaches the maximum level, you will receive a warning before you complete a piece of the story. Ignore it at your own peril. So in other words, ignore your hunger. Things about to get really fucked up for you. Let's try to avoid that, shall we? Some choices may only become visible if your hunger is high enough. Similarly, high hunger may block off some choices, as you will be able to see after pressing continue. Yeah, blocked off option and continue. To decrease your hunger, you will need to feed. Whenever you see a feeding opportunity, you can take the risk to hunt and slake your hunger. Feeding opportunity. Nom. You will need to keep the hunger at bay if you are to uphold the masquerade and survive the nights that await you. Okay, so that tells us how the hunger mechanic works in this game. Cool. You open your eyes. The bed isn't warm. The room is filled with artificial light from the ceiling. The solid metal door is closed. Normally you'd stretch for a bit. On some mornings you'd probably throw the quilt over yourself and snooze a moment longer. But that was before. The way you woke up now, you are fully conscious. No grogginess, nothing weighing you down, just the nagging need in the back of your head. Hunger. Not as severe as last time, but unmistakably there. You get up and open the door to the main room. A digital clock on the TV shows you the time. 9:04 p.m. You walk over to the blinds and retract them cautiously. The only light coming in is NYC's artificial nighttime luminescence. So that's what your waking hours are going to look like now. You miss the sunlight already. You're seriously considering just walking out of the apartment and figuring this all out by yourself. But then you come back to the memory of Quadir's exotic sword being raised in the gallery. Maybe sticking around isn't that bad of an idea after all. Yeah. Excuse me for one moment. Alright. You keep jumping channels for around half an hour, and then switch to streaming services. Almost as if the universe had a sense of irony, you catch True Blood in the flood of recommendations. The doorbell. It's Sophie. Good evening, Ethan. Slept well? Like a dead man. Curious wording, but not that far from the truth, I suppose. No use dwelling on it. I think you will agree, with time. You made the right choice yesterday. I've been teaching many things about yourself. Your blood, its desires and power. We will begin tonight. You are hungry, yes? I'm sure you are. Our kind always is. There's only one remedy. The blood. The drinks we had yesterday at Elysium are not the usual way you slake your thirst. So tonight, I will assist you in your first foray into hunting. You will need to learn to sense the kind of blood you desire. To understand how you can use the kind's vulnerabilities to your advantage. Well, I'm ready to learn. Let's get started. Such eagerness? Or is it just your hunger making you impatient? You will find that drinking moderate amounts of it regularly will keep the hunger and the whispers of the beast away. You might think yourself monstrous, but there is a balance to be found. The kiss gives the kind pleasure. You might remember this from your own embrace. Some can become addicted to the sensation. But if you do it right, they tend to misremember your feeling. After all, vampires do not exist. They are myths, fairy tales, and pop culture mainstays. Correct? She gives you a sly old smile. This is why the masquerade is so important. And even more crucial when you feed. How do you avoid being seen while feeding? You isolate your prey, or you choose the right circumstances. People tend to avert their gaze when they see a couple intertwined in public. Love bites are easy to explain away. Some of us keep willing friends, or even just individual kind who desire the kiss. That comes at higher risk these nights, though, so I would not recommend it to a young kindred like yourself. Feeding from the same area repeatedly, it can be dangerous. But by branching out, you risk the ire of other kindreds on whose domains you trespass. Lucky for you, New York City, NYC is more forgiving in this regard. New York is in somewhat of a unique position. Many of its neighborhoods remain contested or unclaimed. The reason for this is a lesson for another time, but keep the following in mind. Take opportunities to feed when they present themselves these upcoming nights. As long as you hunt cautiously and respect the masquerade at all times, you should be fine. To wit, I want you to join me for a trip tonight. Come downstairs. Gregory is waiting for us. The busy street fills the air with traffic noise, pedestrian chatter, and a mix of smells that disorient you momentarily. These warm bodies become what you want, what you need. Catch yourself. Did you really just think of these people as mere sources of blood? Kinda, yeah. It takes a nudge from Sophie to break your train of thought. The driver opens the door for her, and then tips his hat to you, gesturing to the back of the car. The car comes New York traffic. It's still busy in a way that only one of the biggest cities in the world can be. but compared to the daytime commute, it's a pleasant drive. You rarely have the time to gather your thoughts and formulate many questions before the car comes to a stop. You are among the tall skyscrapers that make up Manhattan's iconic skyline. Come, park the car, Gregory, will you? The driver just nods and Sophie gets out. Walk through the glass doors together, then take the elevator up. You first notice an empty stage with the instruments of a string quartet still in the back, and take in the few dozen chairs in front of it. The concert scene concluded, the patrons, all smartly dressed and posh, have spread out all over the hall. Sophie strides confidently inside, produces an invitation from her purse that she flashes in front of the security guard. You follow close and are let through without issue. Let's start easy. A social gathering like this one would usually prove quite challenging for an inexperienced kindred, but consider this evening a small gift from your patron. I'm hoping to procure for you a willing vessel. Just remember what I told you about taking small sips. This one I have a soft spot for. Don't damage it. Let's see here. There he is. She notices somebody in the crowd. Flasher has a heart-melting smile, and suddenly even you feel drawn to her. You hadn't thought about it before, but it's laid for you in this moment. Yeah, she's activated Sophie is beautiful. Just looking at her is a privilege. Just being with her makes you feel elated. Everybody in the crowd, but especially the man who's almost tripping over himself to reach a clear appearance. Edgar, I'm so happy to see you. How is your darling? Is she here with you? Oh, there she is. Julie, my girl, come over here, please. There's something I'd like for you to meet. The young woman who walks the hall can't be more than 19 years old. It's clear from her mismatched earrings and partially faded purple hair dye that she doesn't fit this crowd. Julie, this is Ethan. I think you two should get acquainted while I talk business with your dad. Awful boring stuff, I assure you. I'm positive you really like each other. The girl gives you a shy smile and nods towards the balcony stairs. You follow, somewhat unsure what it is exactly Sophie expects you to do. You reach a secluded space from which the entire lobby is visible. All eyes are on Sophie. They listen intently, then laugh when she does. Julie saves you the trouble of figuring out the next step. If you're with Sophie, then I guess Oh, Sophie. Yes, Sophie is a cutie. I like her. She puts her wrist to her lips and gives herself a theatrical nip. Then looks to you embarrassed, but also hopeful. Might as well. Yes, I do. She takes off her jacket, unbuttons her sleeve, and then rolls it up. You see it, the tattoo of a cat in an astronaut suit, one feline eye winking at you. There, enjoy. A perfectly awkward smile. What? She's willing. Willing, and she knows she's into it. You take her forearm in your hands. A quick look around confirms nobody's watching and no security cameras cover this area. You bite down, gently. It's surreal. She's just giving you her blood of her own volition. How is this possible? What about the masquerade? You need to ask Sophie. Your thoughts disappear amidst with the beast. It was just the taste. Sweet, fresh, sanguine, and drink, and drink, and drink. No, stop! You tear away from the girl harder than you want. Still, the bite leaves just tiny punctures. Almost as if by instinct, you lick them clean, and the two holes become concealed, just like that. Julie is now leaning on the wall, pale, wobbly, knee on her feet, but happy. She lets out a dreamy sigh, opens her eyes. A few tears fall into her shirt, tears of joy. Thank you. Please, can you walk me downstairs? Please? My dad, he doesn't know. This is a condition. He suddenly told himself. Feeling on your request, you go over to her bench. She takes a seat and smiles at her. The crowd around Sophie, he disperses slowly. Looking at her now, only some residual awe hangs in her. Yes, she's pretty, maybe even beautiful, sure, but not your type. What came over you before? You walk over to her. Edgar, dear. It was splendid talking with you, but we need to get going. Give Julie my best wishes. Come with Ethan. Gregory is waiting for you out front. It's only in the car that Sophie addresses you. I can tell from your look that you took the opportunity. Good for you. That girl's exquisite, don't you think? I wouldn't tell by her demeanor, but she has so much passion. It brings out a unique bouquet of her blood. I think she knows who we are. That's not normal, right? It's not unusual, that much is true, but don't worry. She will do anything I tell her to. I won't say anything to anyone that I haven't put me head first. Time for the next stop. Train the wheels off this time. Gregory, Flushing Meadows, please. The driver takes the car over the Williamsburg Bridge. Settle your thoughts. Those people back in the hall, they were all entranced. Even I was under a spell. What was that? She smiles with satisfaction. That old trick? Just the blood doing my bidding. We all have our talents. Some of them come from the legacy we inherit from our sire. Others can be learned with experience. I can sway people or make them feel me. I see more of the world in greater detail than some can. I can will my body to move with unparalleled precision and grace. And more. All of these skills make me who I am. They also help me hunt. How exactly do I use these talents? You will the blood to your bidding. Many times you'll find you do these things intuitively, almost passively. But making an entire room focus their attention on you, that is tempting the beast. Always keep the masquerade in mind. It's all fine if you can disappear in plain sight or command animals with your mind. Save those overt talents for the right place and time. It only takes you half an hour to reach the park at this time of night. Both you and Sophie leave the car, with Gregory left behind again to find a parking spot and keep an eye on the car. Sophie seems even clawed. She takes in the surroundings with a dreamy gaze. The sky is surprisingly clear tonight. The stars just barely visible in the light-polluted aura of the city. I feel like having a snack myself. I'll be by the fountain. Go look for somebody to your liking. See what effects you can achieve with your blood. But only pick one victim, just one, then come back. See Seeing how she seems not all together very here right now, we decide to leave Sophie to her own devices and seek out your prey. From here, it looks like you have a few choices. Just taking a stroll around the park and finding an isolated jogger or someone like that could work, but focusing on one area might be better. The New York State Pavilion might work this good spot. There's a skate park nearby, and worst case scenario, well, there's bound to be some unfortunate hit wino around. Or maybe the tennis court's nearby. There's light coming from there, so somebody might still be playing a late night match. They won't be alone, they might be tired and let their guard down. As these scenarios play out in your mind, you realize you're planning how to assault a stranger in the middle of the night. It's a weird way to be, but the now familiar hunger prompts you to act. Yeah, let's just look for someone around the park. Start walking. The park's many avenues must hold really good. The park's many avenues must hold a good spot or two for a predator like yourself. You pass 2 soccer fields and circle around from where the Fountain of the Plants once awed visitors with a spectacle before coming across an opportunity. A woman, a small duffel bag on her arm, is making her way through the park in a hurry. It doesn't seem to have noticed her yet. Yeah, let's not just jump her. Because, just jumping someone, having to go, oh, help, somebody! Let us use our presence. You think back to what Sophie did in the hall, how she managed to focus the attention of the entire gathering. Tonight, that might be a tall order for you, but a single person could be doable. For a moment, you're thinking how an old guy in a hood should appear over your shoulder saying, "Use the force." It feels ridiculous. Then something stirs within you. There's confidence there, an allure that you might have had before, but one that's increased manifold in this moment. You catch the woman's eye. She flashes an unsure smile, almost in spite of herself, as she passes you by. She's tense, gripping her bag close, but attentive. Her eyes lock onto yours. A slight smile is there. Yes? What is it? Almost intuitively, you close the distance between you. She can't look away. She's unprepared for what follows. In a swift move, you grab her and bite down. With surprise resonant beats in her blood. Hot, excited, fast flowing. She tenses up, then relaxes. The duffel bag hits the ground. Bliss. Footsteps. You let go of her. She drops to the ground, barely conscious. A hooded man is looking menacingly at her. What do you think you're doing, barging in on my turf like this, Dick? A derogatory term, used to address non-unexperienced vampires. What did you just call me? A lick? What is that supposed to mean? Don't keep playing. I know what you are. Shove that masquerade bullshit up your ass. Better tell me who you're with before my posse shows up and we beat it out of you. came here with Sophie Lane. She's my patron. I don't know about it. Sounds fancy though. He licks his lips, exposing his fangs, and looking at me voraciously. A nervous tick, or an attempt at intimidation. I wonder, what would Callahan do to me? What would Callahan do to you if I want you? Huh? Break your shins? Leave you out to be kissed by the sun? Ooh, concrete shoes maybe. He's old school like that. Yeah, you know what? Discretion is the better part of valor. You take off. Fast. Faster than you've ever run. The hoodlum has trouble keeping up, but howls behind you like an animal who gives chase anyway. As you reach the Unisphere again, you slow down, noticing two people rolling in this corruption. A man and a woman tangled in a passionate embrace. No, not exactly. It's Sophie, feeding. This whole scene is set up so that it looks like a couple being intimate in public. She pulls it off like she's done it 100 times before. It occurs to you that she probably has. The man is unsure on his feet as she lets go of him and leads him toward what's a nearby bench. Noticing you, she whispers something into his ear in unison. Her driver appears from behind a tree. Well, Ethan, how did it go? You're about to answer in the same figure as before, when it emerges from one of the alleys. He looks at the three of you and a predatory smile creeps onto his lips. You thought you could just run away from me, Lick? Think you'll be safe with your friends? Well, I have friends too. He makes a motion to shout, but two things happen almost at the same time. First, that feeling of warmth and beauty emanating from Sophie flares up again, entrancing both you and the hooded foot. The shout comes out as a weak, confused squeak. Second, Gregory produces a wooden stake from a holster on his jacket and slams it into the foot's chest. Just like that, in a few seconds, the posturing vampire is down on the ground, paralyzed. You seem you've made a friend, Ethan. Curious choice of company, I would say. Who is he? Said something about presenting. He said something about presenting me to someone named Callahan. Ever heard of him? She looks shocked for a split second, then recovers her regular countenance. Yes, I have. This hoodlum is Anarch, then? Curious. Corona Park has not been claimed by any Kindred last I checked. Let's go to the car. We'll put him in the trunk and present him to Coteries tomorrow. I'm sure he'll be delighted to make this unbalanced acquaintance. Gregory carries the stake vampire and puts him in the car's trunk like a mannequin. It's a strange sight. You're quite happy you're not in that poor fucker's shoes right now. It's almost surprising you can get away with just casually throwing a stiffing into your car and driving away. But then you remember that Sophie has been doing this far longer than you have. Still, the nagging thought that anything you did tonight could have been recorded on a CCTV camera or picked up by a rando with a half-decent smartphone and streamed online fills you with pride. Hunting and using your abilities is a dangerous business. It's clear that this whole being a vampire thing has about as much caveats as it has perks. You're taken out of your headspace by Sophie's voice. I will pick you up tomorrow night, same as tonight. I have some business to attend to at Elysium, and I expect you to accompany me. Plus, our friend in the back needs to be properly introduced to Quadir Prince. I'm sure he'll have some interesting things to say to the court. Her voice is cold, cruel, and nothing like the enchanting personality she showed at the gallery earlier tonight. Sophie is clearly a woman of many faces. What's going to happen to us? The usual, I imagine. Interrogation by Coteries, probably probably in the basement of the gallery. A quick trial with the prince in attendance if she's there tomorrow night. Swift execution was the verdict. This all sounds eerily familiar to you. You can't help but feel a pang of guilt when you think about what awaits the sky tomorrow night. You haven't told me how your hunting went. Getting the hang of it, I would hope. I'll need time to get used to this. It doesn't come naturally. It will, with time. You need to think about it less. Hunting is the one scenario in which you'll do well to trust your instincts. In moderation, of course. She seems distracted, not all there. The thoughts drift and the car remains silent until you reach your apartment. We will pick you up tomorrow evening. Good night. Just like that, without any further courtesy, Sophie leaves, driven to her apartment by Gregory with a body in the trunk. Right in the middle of Manhattan. Did you cross paths with situations like these in the past unknowingly? What other secret incidents you pass on the streets without knowing their termination? Your haven is just as you left it hours ago. Although the sun won't come up for some time, you feel tired. You learned something about yourself today, and it'll take time to process. You're not in the mood for television, and the few books on the shelf, most in the apartment, are either in languages you don't speak or sound like a boring read. Nothing left to do but rest. You settle in the back room, lock the door. A moment of hesitation, then a decision. This time, you turn the light off. You think back to Julie. How many people in this city know about this vampiric society? How many are unwilling accomplices in sustaining it? And the thug you met in the park. If he's not Camarilla, then what is he? Are there independent vampires? How does that work? More questions. You begin wondering if there's ever going to be a night where you can start crossing them off the list, instead of adding to them. You close your eyes. You sink into the now familiar void of nothingness. It greets you with open arms, like an old friend. You open your eyes. It's pitch dark in here. The blackness of a coffin drifting in the abyss. Oh, right, the light. You grasp for the switch, flip it. The familiar cramped room with a steel door and no windows comes into view. You emerge from the bedroom fully awake, just like yesterday. This time, however, Sophie is waiting for you, comfortably seated on the sofa in your living room space, a book in her hand. The Melancholy of Resistance. The title's sure on brand. Good evening, Ethan. Good evening, Sophie. I hope you've rested well. Tonight will be quite eventful, I think. Come. We have an appointment. I received word Elysium would be called again tonight on account of your unruly friend from Corona Park. This should be a great opportunity for you to mingle. She keeps talking as you walk downstairs and get in the car. Gregory gives you a slight nod and a small smile while opening the door for Sophie. He starts the car when you take your seat in the back. Most of the Primogen Council is bound to be there, at least those who usually attend. Probably some other important personalities who do well to at least know about. Anyone I should talk to when we arrive? Not especially. My advice would be to try to talk to the prince, and perhaps reassure her of your gratefulness for being spared. Perhaps speak to Goodyear on the same topic if you get a hold of him. The primary gen I would advise against. They're rather stuck-up cultures, and even if they will talk to you, they may try to secure you for some nefarious purpose. I wouldn't appreciate that. Of course, be respectful if anyone approaches you and strikes up a conversation. You will no doubt be gossiped about, as will I. Keep a cool head. Some enjoy provoking fledglings into stupid acts. At any rate, you should behave yourself tonight. Remember what I told you about reflecting on me as your patron. I have a reputation to uphold in the court. Do not tarnish it. There it is. She might have saved you. She might be protecting and teaching you. But it's clear what she's really concerned about. Her own interests. Yeah, I can't say I'm that surprised. Sticking to the article was something like that. The last time you were the entire world had been turned upside down, and your existence in the end. But we're not going to take a moment just so don't sit right there, because we're not going to tell you how I became the Prince of Bel-Air. But tonight there is very little outward hostility. Yes, Coteries gives you a look that's definitely intended to remind you of the prince. But the prince also intends to speaks to you. Welcome, Sophie. Ethan, did I get that right? Good evening to both of you. I understand there is somebody else who wishes to present to the court tonight. Yes, please. They will be joining us shortly. My assistant is retrieving them prison. This better be worth the prince's time. The prince gives Whittier a cold glance. Forgive the sheriff's house for harshness. He's in a particularly foul mood tonight. Something to do with Ethan's McKenna leading to his grasp. Ouch. That must have hurt you there. So, even if he's only replies in a quick smile. I should have her sorry. Likely he wouldn't be too happy with this whole setup. Prince, court, hierarchy, titles. But hey, she's gone. Probably forever. If you ever break out of this, be on your own. Filling up with whispers in the gallery hall breaks you out of your trance. Gregory enters the room. The jumpsuit-clad, inert vampires take a stake on his shoulder. Shows him. Sophie's driver places his charge in the middle of the room and bows respectfully to Coteries. The sheriff approaches the vampire and removes the stake from his chest. The captive's eyes flicker to life, and he starts looking around in disbelief. Corner man, he backs out on all fours, keeps going in circles until he realizes he's trapped. Coteries steps on the man's chest and begins to do Silence. The sheriff takes on an aura of utter dread. He appears as if he's a primal force of nature that's out to get you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do but shrivel in terror. Yep, that's another power manifesting. Off the top of my head, what it is? It's the opposite of awe. Wilhelm's willpower had to crawl to her feet as she just started crying. Oh, please, go for it, man. Go. You and me are going to have a little talk downstairs at the prince's discretion. Please, go ahead, my sheriff. You heard the prince. Get up. Let's go. He doesn't wait for a confirmation. He just grabs the man and drags him, kicking and screaming out the window. Conversations start all around him. Some whispered, some quite overt. Sophie looks somewhat bored of the whole thing. Her eyes wandering from art piece to art piece. Clearly finding nothing to do. guy has almost an entire corner of the room all to himself. so she would hear me out before me. I'm not sure if you paid attention the other night, but when the prince mentioned diverging opinions on whether he should be executed or not, that was me. I was the divergent opinion. Not that I'm ungrateful, but out of curiosity, what was your reasoning? My reasoning? Just common sense. That you shouldn't be blamed for being assaulted and essentially murdered to boot. But as Kindred loves to say, that traditions are clear. Listen, I don't want to be rude, and I appreciate you reaching out, but word of advice, stay away from me. Many vampires in the sector regard my position as pleasure to me. Some kind of joke, you know. They'll talk to me, you talk to me, they'll notice, and they'll hold it against you. You have a quick look behind you and see that a few of the Kindred keep shooting you curious glances. One woman in particular, a redhead posting a fanciful hairstyle, watches you disapprovingly. As I know about me too, I imagine. Excuse me, I need to get a word in with a few Coteries members before Coteries returns. Enjoy your night. Makes me wonder what clan he is. To be looked down upon, so one might think Malkavian. I don't know. It's just the critical looks of a few Kindred to keep you company. Start thinking about who to pursue next. A loud exchange near the staircase grabs everybody's attention. Coteries is back, and the hoodlum is with him. The sheriff pushes his unfortunate victim inside the room. The vampire that threatened you has no that stupid hat that is still inexplicably on his head, covering some of his ruined face in the golden shadow. His barely canvas. His shin is broken, something protruding there through the painted bulge. One arm seems physically strangely. Very little blood surprisingly, but clearly a whole lot of her. Hello, Coteries. Does it come back? It's Howard. An adult Coteries like this. Active for some time. Never forgot this one. Living is part of the I didn't crap, except for just arguing jump as Coteries slap. This case of his a spray of blood from something like an abstract art piece. This man is guilty. consider tonight's meeting concluded. Good night to you all. She steps out of the room, and you see many of the guests move to do the same. Sophie seems to be conversing with someone, a serious-looking man in a trench coat, about what transpired. You probably have the time to strike up a conversation of your own, too. Quadir Ismai is still here, for one, but clearly getting ready to leave. Larson is still moping around, and the other man you noticed before Quadir brought the anarchane is still chatting with the other remaining attendants. Now let's try to talk to Quadir. The sheriff's mood seems to have improved, so you decide you won't get a better shot at a saying your piece. He's just sheathing his sword as you approach him. He notices you just before his face turns from a melancholy frown back to his regular predatory smile. You seem to have caught him in a moment of reflection. What is it? I wanted to thank you for bringing me here in one piece, for giving me a chance. An emotion creeps onto Quadir's face that you haven't seen the sheriff exhibit yet. That gratitude? It's fleeting, only there for a moment, gone in the blink of an eye. It was trying on my nose, and you are still far away from proving that it was the right thing. So don't think that a few kind words will let you off the hook. Still, I have to admit, I was as surprised as before when you jumped at the opportunity to stop that man off from escape. I was sure Valerie would lead you to it. If there's nothing else, I'll be taking my leave. I was wondering if you could tell me something about Sophie. She talks a lot about the Camarilla and other things, but I barely know anything about it. No, I can tell you something about Sophie. Something she wouldn't want you to hear. Like the fact she's manipulative and vindictive. But then again, which of us Kindred aren't? You want to know more about Sophie's past? Ask her. She's unlikely to tell you the truth, though. I'm quite sure she never told me, despite our previous history. That's what we do, Fletcher. We exist for centuries and we lie. To our families, our friends, our lovers, to our kindred, sires, and childhood, to ourselves. He picks up the sword and turns towards the stairs. Good night, and watch yourself. I've messed up my body pattern, so I'll be sure to keep a close eye. With that final threat, he leaves the gallery. Ooh, I hope that wasn't strike one. It's right about when Sophie also ends her conversation and walks over to you. Interesting evening, wasn't it? Come, Gregory's waiting downstairs. She seems preoccupied with something, and not in a talkative mood. It's an awkward ride back to the city. This time you arrive at another building, just 2 streets across from your apartment. She brings you upstairs, through a nice lobby and a luxurious-looking hall, into her domain. Please, have a seat. I'll be right with you. You take in your surroundings. The apartment is like a gallery, an old-school smoking room that you've seen in some period piece once, and a nouveau riche's living room, meticulously combined together. Apologies. Old habits die hard. Clearly some stick with you even after your death. She drags out her cigarette and breathes out. Breathes. How is she doing that? Can you do that? Oh, yes. You might not know. It takes some practice, but you can keep smoking if you'd like. Other things, too. Experiment. You might surprise yourself. But I did not bring you here to show off. This is where I rest these nights. The door in the back, the bedroom. Similar to yours. I have servants and bodyguards in addition, of course. I brought you here because I need you to trust me. When I told you that before that I needed your best behavior to uphold my good standing with the court, I meant it. But that's not the whole story. I have your interests in mind too. That's why I've given you your own haven, while I'm trying to teach you how to navigate this new reality. But you need to trust me, or else this won't work. You can come here whenever you feel like asking something. And you're in trouble too, though I hope that won't happen often. I would ask you to come here when you wake up tomorrow. I'll have something to discuss with you. Okay. I'll come over first thing tomorrow night. I appreciate that. Silence again. There's definitely something on Sophie's mind tonight, but she doesn't seem eager to share it with you just yet. I'm leaving for another visit. Come downstairs with me. We'll give you a lift. A quick trip. I promise that you'll show up tomorrow, and some polite goodbyes later. You open the door to your haven and gather your thoughts. It's exciting in a way, being dragged deeper and deeper into the secret society and its rules. Whatever Sophie has planned for you, it's bound to teach you more about this thing you have become. You should sink into your vampiric sleep with just a sliver of hope. It's a welcome change. And I think it is at this point we shall draw a conclusion to our vampire story. For now. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, if you're watching on Twitch, make sure you hit the follow button so you know when I'll be streaming next. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you know when the next video goes live. Until next time, this has been Breakman Z saying thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, may your save files never be corrupted, and may your evenings be full of interest, shall we say. Good night.